Alright, on to matchup number 5. This one features the worst team in the league, Teddy Ballgame, who came off a devastating loss, almost got his first win last week against Gabo, against one of the hottest teams in the league right now, which is GE PackerKillers. Absolutely putting up points. He's 3-3, which is middle of the pack, but let me tell you what, he's one of the elite teams in this league. The guy's putting up points week after week after week. He's had some bad luck earlier in the year, but he's took it upon himself to turn it around. The guy is putting up points. We all know it, we all see it, and I don't know who can stop him at the moment. But if we look into the matchup, ESPN is predicting a blowout, 124 for PackerKillers and 80 for Ballgame. Ballgame knows this. He's seen this before. Let's go into their matchup, kind of see if ESPN is on the right, or if I'm going to have to smack him around a little bit and kind of tell him what's up. Like I did last week. I know you guys are all incredibly impressed by how accurate I was last week. I get it. We go in, Tom Brady, San Diego Chargers defense. Love that matchup. If I'm Ted, I'm saying 22 points for Brady. That's going to be his high score, but 22 points, not too shabby, and it can definitely get him at least into the matchup where he'll have a chance with Steve Smith on Monday night going against Hakeem Nicks and Tony Romo. So if he's lucky, it actually will come down to Monday like it did last week. If not, Monday is just going to be a blur, and he's going to be turning off fantasy altogether. On the other side, PackerKillers, Tony Romo. This is the one problem with Tony Romo right now. He's going against a very good defensive line in the Giants, and he doesn't do very well against teams that pressure him. I think he's going to have that same problem, obviously, against that big front four against the Giants. Great pass rushers. They're going to get the Romo. Look for him to be checking down a lot of quick screens, a lot of quick outs, a lot of running, a lot of draws, a lot of screens. It's just going to probably happen. I don't see him actually putting up as many points. I think he's only getting about 15. So I'm going to actually give the edge to Ballgame and quarterbacks. That might be the only edge he's going to get, but an edge nonetheless. In running backs, if we look at PackerKillers, Steven Jackson, Peyton Hillis, Mike Williams. Mike Williams against Arizona's defense. I don't love it. I do like it. Give me 6 points for him for PackerKillers. Peyton Hillis against New Orleans. Peyton Hillis, he's been a stud so far. I mean, like he's turning me into a believer. Say 14 points for Peyton Hillis this week. Even though he's with Cleveland, I know it's so strange. Steven Jackson against Tampa Bay. Love Steven Jackson. This guy's the beast. I feel bad for him. I feel like he's like a Barry Sanders on a horrible Detroit team. But he's a beast. He's going to get you points. Give me 17 for Steven Jackson this week against a weak Tampa Bay team. I say weak, not because of their record, because of their talent. I know. What's talent without record, right? I know this from a 49er fan standpoint. Ballgame, he's throwing Thomas Jones, Ryan Train, Beanie Wells. Beanie Wells against Seattle defense. Really like Beanie Wells against the Seattle defense. Give me 10 points for Beanie Wells. Ryan Train against Cleveland. Ryan Train, he came out of almost nothing last week. I watched the game. He ran hard. He ran strong. It was hard to take him down. If he continues that against he's going against Chicago this week. Harder run defense. But if he runs as hard as he did last week, look for good points out of Ryan again this week. Give me 10 points for Ryan. Thomas Jones against Jacksonville. Jacksonville did pretty good battling up Chris Johnson, except for that cream puff at the end of the game. Sorry, Ted, to bring that up again. But Thomas Jones isn't really the running back that succeeds against Jacksonville. It's going to be more of his other half in Jamal Charles that's going to get the carries. Unfortunately, I see Thomas Jones getting 7 points or less. If we look at the receivers for a ball game, Steve Smith for the Giants. Love Steve Smith this week. Give me 15 points for him against Dallas. Dwayne Bowe blew up last week. Actually, I see him continuing. I mean, when the quarterback feels comfortable throwing the ball up, Dwayne Bowe, everybody's like, well, look at the week beforehand. How could you pick him up? How would you expect that he would have such a big week? He dropped 3 balls. He looked terrible. He showed that he can play. We knew he can play from past years. Give me Dwayne Bowe. Give me 9 points against a weak Jacksonville secondary. Um, on PackerKillers side, Randy Moss, Hakeem Nicks. Hakeem Nicks against Dallas. Like him, it's going to be a battle between him and Steve Smith who's going to get the points. I think Hakeem Nicks does see the end zone once. Give me 12 points for him. Randy Moss against Green Bay. Again, I see Randy Moss. You see how Favre is. You watch the games, you see Favre, doesn't matter. He'll chuck it and hope that Favre comes down with it. He's going to come down with one in week 7. Give me Moss. Give me 16 points for Randy this week. Tight end. Teddy Ballgame doesn't have him in at the moment. Todd Heap is out, obviously, after that blast. Chris Cooley, I don't know what's going on with Chris Cooley. I know he's questionable, but he'll probably play against the Bears. He'll have a decent game. Chris Cooley always has a decent game. Give me 8 points for Chris Cooley. On the other side, Brett Selleck against Tennessee defense. Tennessee doesn't really like giving points up to the tight end very often. So I think he's going to be limited to about 4 to 5 points for Selleck this week. Fantasy dud. I'm definitely going with Thomas Jones this week against Jacksonville defense that is more prone to give up a lot of points towards the slasher and dasher than against the power man. And for fantasy stud, give me Steven Jackson. Solid player. Love Steven Jackson, like I said before. If he can go over 20 points this week, so don't be too surprised if he does do that. Prediction. PackerKillers is just too strong. I'd be scared of going against them right now. Ballgame, I don't think has a chance in this. I'm going to actually say that it's going to be PackerKillers by 46.